Said 6 weeks to go. Okay, Colonel Bellino brings me in. He says, I'd like to. I'm nominating you to be a general's aide. There's a new general coming in the next 6-7 weeks or whatever. And he said, I want you to be his aide. And I said, that's a great honor. You know, make sure your shoes are shined and social itinerary. But most important, we're the guys that did the armor-plated gun trucks in the convoys. Everybody knew who the 8th Transportation Group was and how Highway 19 was and all that. So we ought to make sure that this general is fully aware. I said, Colonel, I'm going to meet my girlfriend in Hawaii, okay, an R&R. Can I tell you when I come back? The day you come back, you come in and see me because I have to know. So my girlfriend's been in Hawaii for 6 weeks. We had corresponded back and forth and everything, and we hit it off before and everything. She was graduated from Maryland and that, and when she graduated, she went to the continent with 2 of her girlfriends. The 2 girlfriends come home, and what does she do in the summer of '67? She hitchhikes through Ireland, okay? Here she is, 21 years old or whatever, hitchhikes through and gives anybody who gives her a ride a Kennedy $50. Well, they thought she was the Blessed Mother that came down from heaven. They took her home for lunch, for dinner, take her to the next town. They just couldn't believe it. So here, my girlfriend, we're corresponding. I said, you have a good time when I'm over here and everything and all that. So she says, I'm going to take a 6-week course in American history. I finish in such and such date. I come in the next day, an R&R. And who else is there? My uncle. My uncle is a chaplain at the medical center at Honolulu. He's a major, a Monsignor. We are all Catholic, okay? So he has a car to let us use. I stay with him. Sue is at the high school or the college, okay, they got a dorm and everything. So she's staying there. We had a great time. I played golf. Father Tom took us to 2 of the best restaurants that made Ruth Chris look like a McDonald's or whatever the heck. I mean, absolutely super. So I said, Sue, I got a major decision. And she said, you got 5 more weeks to go and then you're home. I said, well, the colonel wants me to be a general's aide. And what's a general's aide? I got to go through all that. And what else? I said, well, when he comes in, I got to spend 52 weeks with him. Besides the 5 or whatever, whenever he comes in, it starts 52 weeks. Don't bother to look me up when you come home, she says. Exact words. Don't bother to look me up when you come home. I said, okay, I guess I'm unofficially engaged, okay, at that point. So we go back and see Colonel Joe Bellino. And I said, Colonel, it's a great honor to be selected, but I'm going to marry this girl from Maryland next year. He proceeded to call me every 4-letter in English. Then he got the Italian 8-letter, whatever the heck it was. And he's tearing me apart. He says, you're SOB, blah, blah, blah. So come back, we get married. 7 years, upstate New York. I bring her home. We start all over. I'm in the trucking business now, sales rep. I go to Boeing Air Force Base for a National Defense Transportation Association luncheon. There's 150 people there for lunch and everything. And I walk in and I got one of my customers with me, and all of a sudden, there's the son of a bee. And everybody's looking around. You bastard, he says. And here's Colonel Bellino leaving the table that he was at in his suit, or his a regular business suit. He's sitting there with 2 2-star generals and 1 3-star general with their aides and everything. And he comes up and he gives me a great big bear hug, and he's calling me the SOB and a couple, and he whips me around in front of these guys. The best GD convoy commander I had in Vienna, and he turned me down for a general's aide. He's calling us. There's 150 people. They all know Colonel Joe Bellino. He was at the Pentagon then. And their mouths open, and the generals, you can see tears coming down their face. I mean, they just can't believe. He went on and on, and for about 5 minutes or so. He's talking like this, you know, we're the guys that did the gun trucks, we're the guys, and this is the best guy I had. And he said, he must have said it 5 times. So anyways, I give him a hug and everything, and I said, Colonel, I says, you gave me a Bronze Star the last night. I says, this means more to me to be acknowledged and everything like this. So that was super. He just, great guy. Passed away in 2000 and that, so, but we moved here in 76. In 77, one Friday night, the phone's ringing at 10 o'clock at night. And I pick it up, and he says, Lieutenant Donegan? And I says, not for about 8 years or so. I said, who's this? He says, Lori Clark. I said, the second transorderly room. He says, you remember me? I said, hell yeah, I remember you. You're the guy who woke me up every morning at 3:45 for convoy briefings. That's what time we got up to take a quick shower, be at the briefing operation at 4 o'clock. So I said, how things going? He says, not very good. He says, I'm married, I got 3 kids and everything, and he says, I'm having tremendous flashbacks, and nobody wants to help me. I says, and I knew he was real good friends with the first sergeant. Sergeant Cecil Music was his name. He says, it's combat fatigue. Sergeant Music was in Korea and everything, and he said, that's just combat fatigue, okay, and all that. Well, what happened, they put him in a gun truck the next day after Music said, okay, you want to go out and see what's going on? You're in the first gun truck tomorrow. So he was in the first gun truck in a convoy. They come across a bus that ran over a landmine and blew the bus to Kingdom Come. There's adults, there's children's parts of bodies all over the place. The gun truck's got 4 people. The Jeep's got 3 people, so the 7 were trying to help whoever they could and everything. And now he's got tremendous flashbacks and everything, all that, because now he's got 3 kids and everything. And they stayed there until additional help came from one of the Yankee or Pleiku, whatever, they brought some medics and stuff. And so he said, nobody will help me. He says, I've talked to VA and everything. Nobody wants to help me or anything. And I says, Lori, I have pictures of that bus. I had a convoy the next day. I got super pictures of that bus. So I says, what can I do? He says, could you send a letter to the VA and everything? I said, I'd be honored to do it. So it's 10:30 at night on a Friday night. And the wife said, what are you doing? I said, I'm writing a letter on behalf of this guy, what a good soldier he was and everything. Next day, I go to Ritz Camera, big camera place here in Beltsville. I get about 8 or 10 slides switched into 5x7, color pictures. So I go ahead, finish my letter and everything, send it to the VA. About 2.5 months later, another Friday night, Lieutenant. I said, this Lori? He says, yeah. The guy's crying. I said, you okay? He says, I just got a letter from the VA. They're giving me medical coverage for the rest of my life, okay? And I got 100% medical coverage, 100% disability. He said, I never heard of anybody in the 70s getting 100% disability on anything, okay? And he got that. He was just so happy and everything. So he said, I can't thank you. I says, hey, that's what we do and everything, right? And that. The boys' Latin school, I just wanted to cover that. We discussed that. I was asked by Gilchrist Hospice up in Baltimore to go to a boys' Latin school in Baltimore to address a military history class. And I said I'd be honored to do it and everything. I get in there and they got me in an elevated chair and everything, and there's a guy next to me, and there's 16 students out here. And the museum there is absolutely spectacular. I have to show you the pictures. It's got every American soldier from Revolutionary War to Afghan, which is, what a fiasco. I mean, God bless those people. So It's got everything there. So anyways, I figured I'm going to have to get up and yakety yak, yak, yak. No, they're going to ask me questions. They asked me questions, okay, you know, how I got in and what I did and some of the things I said earlier and everything. But so the last thing was, they said, we're winding down our tape and everything, and do you have any words of wisdom for us? And I says, yeah. I said, one of you guys is going to the Air Force Academy and another guy's going to military school up in New England. And I says, that's great, whether you guys go military or civilian life down the road. And I says, one thing officers and enlisted men learned the first week they were in training: accomplish the mission and welfare of the troops. And that means you train your men and you take care of them. I said, I was honored to do that in Vietnam. I took care of my guys. I became a terminal manager, Consolidated Freightways, second biggest trucking company in the country. Had 30 Teamsters. Never had a problem when the Teamsters, upper management, still put the screws to me and a lot of other guys and everything. So, but if you do that, you will have a successful life, okay, and you will take care of your men, okay? It's as simple as that. Accomplish the mission and welfare your troops. Train them and take care of them. So that was great. So then, anyways, a couple of weeks later and everything, I get this thing in the mail and everything, and it's a nice letter from Boys Latin School in Gilchrist, and they're saying the guys really loved it. They said, we wish we could have stayed and listened to Tom, okay, for the next hour instead of going to class and everything, but they had to go to class. So, and they said, okay, there's a copy of the CD, okay, the disc and everything has been sent to Library of Congress, National Archives. They have that. And I said, what an honor, okay, to have that. So just what we talked about. So I'm super proud of everything I did. My balloon was burst in May of 2016 at the Elks down in Ocean City. It was Cruiser Week. All the hot rodders come in Ocean City. It's also Preakness weekend in Baltimore. So the American Legion is full of people. We go to the Elks, okay, which is up at 136th Street, Ocean City. And all the ladies got the goofy hats on and everything, and all of a sudden, okay, a guy way in the back of the hall goes like this here. He's got 2 seats. So, Sue, come on, we got 2 seats way back. So we go to this table, and there's 3 other couples there. So we go around, and they said, okay, we want to introduce each other, tell them how long you've been in the Elks, okay, what you've been doing and everything. So I'm the last one. And I said, we just joined the Elks about 3-4 months ago. You know, Sue and I have been helping Maryland Public TV do this Vietnam Welcome Home. We have visited 25 veteran posts, Harley stores, patriotic restaurants. We've been giving out all the information on what's going to be on TV this month, okay, in May. 3 one-hour presentations, and I participated in, and they had 18 listening sessions, they called. And I said, I was part of the last 275. And I says, but I wasn't selected for the final 100. I said, I think it was my upstate New York, my Yankee accent that, you know, but I said, that didn't matter to me. I said, but it's going to be really super. And they're going to tell the real story of what happened in Vietnam. And they're going to have the big ceremony at Timonium at the fairgrounds and everything for the way. And it was supposed to have been at Pimlico. 10 months before this happened, Pimlico says, we're also going to have horse racing. Maryland Public TV said, no way. Had to drop the whole thing, and the state of Maryland came through and let them have the fairgrounds. So anyways, my words were telling the real story of what happened in Vietnam.